Hello, my dear students. So, today in this session, we will discuss the remaining part of the question answers of the chapter that is human settlement. And I'll write about the project, the how to write the project report. So, I shall give all the details in our next session or in the next class. As already I have given the topics and the format of the project, I shall give give you in the next class. Here the next question is, describe the various types and patterns of settlement. Answer: settlement is the permanent staying over group of people in a particular place due to the availability of basic necessities of life. After the nomadic stage, a man began to live in a settled life by residing in a particular place. As time went by, two major types of settlements came up in the world. These were rural settlement and urban settlement. Now, number one, that is rural settlement. The concentration of people in the rural areas because of the possibility of agriculture and cottage industries came to be known as rural settlement. Several environmental, economic and geographical factors are responsible for the origin of the rural settlement. The concentration of people in the rural areas came about as a result of availability of land for cultivation, desire to be near to one's kinsmen, availability of jobs, availability of materials for construction of houses, etc. Rural settlement is characterized by agriculture, simple customs, traditions, and predominance of religion. It is urban settlement. As man advanced in knowledge and in the use of technology, he began to live in cities. Scarcity of agricultural land, insufficient food, the glamour of urban life, non-availability of modern facilities in the rural areas, etc., compel many individuals to move to the towns. Unlike the rural settlement, the main occupation of the urban population is secondary and tertiary occupations such as commerce, trade, business, banking, education, transport and communications, etc. On the basis of the pattern, the settlement can be further divided into many types. They are: number 1, dispersed. Due to certain variations in the nature of the soil topography, presence of water sources, existence of forest, availability of cultivable land, presence of roads, etc., human settlements get dispersed at different locations in the same area. This type of settlement is mostly seen in the hilly, mountainous, desert, and dry areas. Dispersed settlement may also occur due to certain historical and social regions. Settlements come up near historical sites and places of social interest. In Canada and the USA, the land holdings are very big, and so each farming family is forced to live within their plot of land, and so the distribution of settlement becomes dispersed. Next is nucleated settlement. In many parts of the world, nucleated or compact settlements grow due to certain environmental and economic reasons. Generally, families tend to live close to each other due to occupational, religious, and social affinity. In this type of settlement, the houses are constructed very close to each other and a vast area lies in between the settlements. These type of settlements is mostly seen in fertile and agricultural areas. The nucleated settlements take the following forms. Number 1, that is linear settlement. The settlements that generally tend to come up along the river banks, roadsides, coastal areas, etc., are known as linear settlement. There is a tendency among the people to settle down along the national highways, state highways, other important roads, etc. As the houses are built in rows, the settlement takes a linear shape. Next, Starship settlement. The type of settlement that comes up around a cross junction or an important transport nodal point is known as Starship settlement. The settlement comes up around the intersection of the transport routes and starts growing along the radiating roads, and in this manner the settlements take the shape of a star. These are some of the very typical type of settlement. Next we can say some of the very good example. Baihatas ideally of Kamrup, Dergaon Chowk of Golaghat, Namti Chowk of Sibsagar. These are some of the very good examples of star-shaped settlements in Assam. These settlements are also seen in northern France and southern London. Next is square-shaped settlement. In this type of settlement, the settlements grow around vast agricultural fields instead of the transport nodes or cross junctions. The settlements often surround the agricultural fields, and so the settlements develop in the shape of a square. Many of the settlements found in the Southeast Asian countries, particularly in Malaysia, belong to this category. Next is scattered settlement. This type of settlement is normally seen on the slopes of the hills and mountains, on the low-lying lands of the floodplains, arid and semi-arid regions. Generally, such settlements are not permanent. It is used by nomads and jhum cultivators. The huts and homes are constructed at different parts of the area for a temporary period. The settlers do not live close to each other. Next question is, distinguish between the rural settlement and the urban settlement. So on the basis of distinction, it's number 1, economic basis. Rural settlement, the economic basis of rural settlement is agriculture, animal husbandry, collection of forest and animal resources. Urban settlement, the economic basis of urban settlement is trade and commerce, industry, extraction and purification of minerals, the process of modifying the natural goods, etc. Number 2, the stage. It was in the rural settlement, it was the first type of settlement to emerge in the society. In urban settlement, the urban settlements came at a later stage than the rural settlement. Next, number 3, according to density. So first is rural settlement. There is more land area in the rural areas, and so the density is not as high as that of the town. Secondly, rural areas have lesser population than urban centers. And in urban settlement, a large number of people inhabit a small area in towns. Therefore, the density of population in the towns and cities is very high. Next, number 4, on the 4th point, on the basis of that's modern amenities. In rural settlement, the modern amenities or convenience do not generally exist in the rural areas, and in the urban settlement, urban centers provide citizens modern amenities like power supply, water supply, sewage disposal, medical, banking, postal services, quick transport system, better communication network, modern recreational facilities, etc. Next differentiation is between nucleated and clustered settlement. On the basis of distinction, that is meaning. In nucleated settlements come up close to each other due to certain geographical and natural reasons. In clustered settlement come up in patches or groups in different parts of an area. Next, on the basis of groups, the houses are compactly built side by side and are surrounded by a vast area of no settlement. Such settlements are far away from other settlements of similar nature, and that is in nucleated settlement. Next, in clustered settlement, they do not have villages and people remain in cluster groups in the different parts completely away from the others. Next, on the basis of examples, the vacant area in between is either a grazing land or an agricultural land. This type of settlement is common in fertile agricultural areas. Next, clustered settlement. Certain geographical factors such as mountains, river valleys, deserts, semi-desert regions, etc. are noted for clustered settlement. Most parts of Europe, North America, Canada, etc. have such type of settlement. So next, on the basis of forms. So in nucleated settlement, these settlements may take different forms such as linear settlement, star-shaped settlement, square-shaped settlement, scattered settlement, etc. And in clustered settlement, they do not have different forms. Next, the differences between star-shaped settlement and square-shaped settlement. On the basis of distinction, that is meaning. Star-shaped settlement. The type of settlement that comes up around a cross junction is known as Starship settlement. Next, square shape settlement. In the square shape settlement, the settlements grow around vast agricultural fields. Next, on the basis of the shape, Starship settlement. This type of settlement comes up at the intersection of the transport roads and then starts growing along the radiating roads, taking the shape of a star. In square shape settlement, these settlements often surround the agricultural fields, and so the settlements get the shape of a square. For examples, in star-shaped settlement, all the important roads of a country have this type of settlement. Mirja, Baihata Sarili of Kamrup, Dergaon and Chowk of Golaghat, Namti Chowk of Sipsagar, etc. are some of the common examples of star-shaped settlements in Assam. Next, in square-shaped settlement, many of the settlements found in the Southeast Asian countries, particularly in Malaysia, belong to this category. Next is the differences between linear settlement and ring-shaped settlement. So basically you see ring-shaped settlement. Okay, so on the basis of meaning, linear settlement, the settlements that come up along the roadsides, railways lines, riverbanks, coastal regions, etc. are known as linear pattern of settlement. As the houses are built in rows or in lines, they take a linear shape. Next is ring-shaped settlement. The settlements that come up around lakes, wetlands, ponds, marshy lands, etc. take a circular or ring-like shape and are known as ring-shaped settlement, or it can be also known as the circular settlement. Next, number 2, cause of formation. So, in linear settlement, many people come out of the interior areas and begin to settle near the roadside for the sake of easy money and to be here near to the centers of education and medical facilities. Next is ring-shaped settlement. Sometimes ring settlements can be found around a temple or an important site besides lakes, etc., to be close to an important source of water, food, income, etc. So next is on the basis of examples. In linear settlement, such pattern of settlement in Japan is termed as shoestring pattern of settlements. The type of settlement that comes up around a cross junction is known as star-shaped settlement. And in the ring-shaped settlement, we find that this type of settlement can be prevail in the villages of West Bengal. Question is densely populated area and sparsely populated area. So answer, on the basis of the density of population, the areas of a country can be divided into areas that have very high density, moderate density, low density and sparsely populated areas. For example, the state of Delhi is the most densely populated area of India with 9,294 persons per square kilometer, while the most sparsely populated state in India is Arunachal Pradesh with only 13 persons per square kilometer. The reasons for this wide variation are factors such as climatic difference, topography, extent of the development of infrastructural facilities, employment opportunities, etc. So next, number 1, a state like Delhi has high population because of the existence of secondary and tertiary occupations, while a state like Arunachal Pradesh has very low density because of the geographical factors such as inaccessible forest, mountains, terrain, mighty rivers, lack of roads, primitive agriculture, governmental policy of not allowing outsiders to settle in the state, etc. Number 2, generally densely populated areas are politically, commercially and economically are very important areas. In contrast, sparsely populated areas are not commercially or economically very important. So here we come the end of this session. So in our next class I shall give you the format of the project, as already I gave you the topics, but in our next class I shall give you the format of the project. Is it clear? And these question answers are very important, so all of you just note it down in your answer copy. So this much is quite enough for this session. Thank you so much and have a nice day.